The most important D&D game in the world is the next one you're going to run. D&D is both an amazing way for us to share amazing tales of high adventure with our friends and family around a table, and it's also just a game. It's easy to get lost in just how powerful a medium D&D is, that we can share tales of high adventure, we can build entire worlds with our friends and family around a table, we can all share in an experience that all of us will remember for the rest of our lives, and lose track of the fact that we're just sitting around a table playing a game. I've met DMs whose stories are so vast and so complicated that they cancel sessions in order to get their hands around the campaign they want to run. They're willing to sacrifice the game itself in order to focus on that larger world that they're creating. But what good is that world if they're not actually sitting down with the players to play it? The only game that matters is the next one you're going to run. Instead of worrying about the entire campaign arc you have, or how things are going to work out with your villains, or how the whole world is going to change depending on how the campaign goes, focus on the things that really matter in the next session you're going to run. Who are the characters? Where are you going to start the session? What scenes might occur? What secrets and clues could the characters discover? What locations could they explore? What NPCs could they interact with? What monsters might they fight? And what treasure might they discover? Answer those questions and you probably have your hands around what you need for your next session. Beyond getting lost in the vast scale and the scope of the world that we're creating, we can also get lost in the larger zeitgeist of D&D. What's going on with the hobby overall? Is there a new playtest coming out? What's the new news? Is there any new controversies going on? What are people talking about on Reddit? What's happening with Twitter? All of the different things that are going on around the larger D&D zeitgeist can actually pull us away from the fact that what really matters for this game is the next session we're going to run for our players. It's really easy to get lost in the news or lost in the bigger topics that are going on. We all have opinions about them. We all want to share those opinions, but really it doesn't matter because the only game that matters to us is the one we're going to run for our players the next time we get together. Many times the conversations that we have with other DMs are incredibly beneficial. We can learn all kinds of new tips and tricks for how to make our game better. We can find new ideas that we can bring into our game or new mechanics that we can drop in that we think will be really fun. Everything that I do at Sly Flourish is based on this idea. What are the tips and tricks we can learn from other DMs that we can bring to our games to make our games more fun? Other times there are larger and sometimes painful conversations about bringing this game to a wider audience. How can we make the game more diverse? How can we help other people see themselves in this game that we love so much? These recent improvements to the diversity of the game have brought the game to a lot of people who otherwise never saw themselves in the worlds that we were creating. But we can also find ourselves getting lost in useless and pointless arguments with people. Other people are playing differently than we are and we think they're wrong and we have to go tell them about this. Or we see other people that come to us and we see a way that we play that other people don't like and we get very defensive about it. But in the end, these arguments don't matter. Whatever you want to bring to your table, whatever you and your players have agreed to, that's what matters when it comes to the game that you want to run. You get to decide what material you want to bring to the table. You get to decide which material you don't want to bring to the table. The only thing that matters is what you and your players agree to for the game that you're going to run. And now there's an entirely new edition of this game coming out, and we're right in the beginning of the playtest for it. We get to see the kind of stuff that they're coming up with. This is a great time to give your feedback to Wizards of the Coast about the new game they're putting out. But almost certainly there are going to be things about this new edition that we love, and there's probably things about this new edition that we may not love. And we get to decide what to do with it. We don't have to bring everything that comes to the table. We get to decide if we want to bring elements from previous editions. We get to decide if there are elements we don't want to bring. We get to decide what we want to bring. We have 45 years of different versions of D&D that are still being played today, and thousands of other role-playing games that are also being played at the same time. We have lots of stuff to choose from. Each version of D&D is our own. We get to decide the worlds that we play in. We get to decide which character classes or races we want to include. We get to decide which supplements we want to bring in, whether it's third-party supplements or things published by Wizards of the Coast. We get to choose what we want to bring to our table as long as we have that agreement with our players. Out of all of the millions of D&D games that are being played now or being played in the future, only one of those games really matters, and that's the game you're going to run for your friends the next time you sit around the table. Focus your time and energy on the next game you're going to run for your friends. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the Sly Flourish newsletter where you get a weekly D&D related article sent directly to your inbox as well as a free PDF adventure generator. You can also support me directly on Patreon and get access to all kinds of exclusive tips, tricks, adventures, city source books, dedicated Discord channels, and a monthly Q&A. And you can also pick up any of my books at the Sly Flourish bookstore. All of the links for those are in the show notes below. Thank you very much, have a great day, and get out there and play some D&D.